Hello and welcome to MGP571. I'm Kevin. With me as ever, there's Sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello, hello, hello.
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 We're back after presumably a week off last week. Because obviously I wasn't available. There's not a chance you three got together and did a podcast without me.
We did.
I refuse to believe it. So welcome back, everybody, after such a long break. When was the last time all four of us were on a podcast together? Probably like January.
Been at least 4 or 5 weeks, isn't it? I think.
Are you ready for your solo show next week, Sheepdog? Because the three of us are all away.
No, I'm I nearly said I'm going to Disneyland, meaning I'm not going to be about. And then I realised you're going to Disneyland. I can't really say that. No, I'm
solo
just going to
solo show.
Jolly quiet week.
Solo show. Well, boys and girls, if you want to cancel your direct debits because Sheepdog can't be bothered to produce content for you, then so be it. I guess we'll take it straight out of his wages because that's a shocking attitude from you, sir. I would always be willing to do a solo show if I was just me. I'd like to talk on my own for an hour. It'd be like doing a stream. Remember when I used to stream?
Yeah, I used to stream. We all used to stream.
We actually have a stream team that no one's actively streaming on currently. Which
do we?
Yeah, we have the MGP stream team. I set one up. Bearing in mind, on Twitch, you're only allowed to set up 2 stream teams in your entire lifetime on Twitch. You can't close one and then open another one. So I used one of my 2 stream teams that I'll be allowed ever. And then within 3 months, all 3 of you would stop streaming.
Oh, not 3 months. I kept going for a long time.
I did as well. I was doing 6 days a week at one point and on top of a regular job. So it's not like as if I wasn't trying, but I think I just burnt out on it, really.
Oh, don't talk to me about regular jobs. I actually felt like I had a job last week. It was hard work. I had to be in places at certain times and do as I was told. For those of you not aware, I was gallivanting off at the FIFAe World Cup featuring Football Manager last week. I was there for 6 days and I've not worked that hard forever. It was mad. People say being a teacher's hard. Forget that. Gallivanting around a Football Manager esports event, much harder. I had to be up at 7:30 in the morning to have makeup applied several times. I like wearing makeup. Makeup makes me pretty. Anna, can I start wearing makeup every day?
If you must.
She did. When you said, "Oh, I'm having my makeup removed now. I won't look as good when you next." I thought, "There's no reason you have to do that, Kev. There's no reason you have to stop."
Well, I don't know what she was doing because my makeup that I use when I'm making YouTube videos is just some like generic plain powder that Anna told me to get.
Mud off the floor.
Yeah, basically, it's just powder. But this
it's
woman
translucent powder. Actually.
There you go. She was color matching me and using all sorts of different potions and using setting sprays. And she offered me lip gloss. She was going to do my hair for me. She was like, "Oh, you've already done your hair." Yeah, I've already done my hair. I was told to be here for makeup, not hair and makeup. It wasn't made clear to me. Plus, you wouldn't do it right. The barber doesn't do it right. I'm the only one who can do my hair right. And so I never wore lip gloss. Should I have been wearing lip gloss? I figured the gloss would clash with my beard, but she was offering it. Dr. Ben had lip gloss. He had the full works. We'd get in there every morning. Have you already moisturised? Yes, I've already moisturised. What do you take me for? Apparently you have to moisturise or the makeup doesn't take. I learned so much about makeup last week. So I think we need to go makeup shopping, Anna, so that I can get myself a full selection. A full assortment of makeup. Yeah, let's go to... Oh, yes! On the way to Disneyland, Pabby, we're going to the purple shop.
Is there like a duty free or something?
Oh my word, there'll be duty free purple things. Yes, absolutely. I need someone with colour vision to match the colours for me though, because that's where I'm going to fall down. I don't know what colour I am, so I need someone to match my colour for me. So between you two, when we're in the duty free doing purple shopping, you need to tell them what colour I am.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Look at the webcam. It's kind of a dirty brown at the moment.
Yeah. Someone said on one of my TikToks earlier that I looked like I'd been out in the sun. I think my camera's just a bit off.
You look like you got a bit of a tan going, or like fake tan or something.
I didn't see outdoors all last week. I got to Liverpool Tuesday lunchtime. My hotel was in the same building as the convention centre. I didn't go outdoors during daylight hours until Monday when I went to the Lego shop. So I had 6 days of just being inside the whole time. So there's no way, unless you can get a tan off of wearing too much makeup. Maybe you're supposed to remove it. Are they just putting layer upon layer of makeup on top of me? Is this like 6 days of makeup thickening on my skin?
You were in front of the bright lights though.
Yeah, so the lights.
Maybe the lights burned you.
I don't think
Yeah.
you can get a suntan off of studio lights.
Yes,
Bear in
can.
mind, I sit in front of bright lights every day. Are
Different
you
light,
telling
though.
me, Anna, you can get a suntan off of studio lighting?
Yes.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Mm.
Because they didn't tell me. I should have been wearing sunscreen if that was the
You
case.
should wear sunscreen every day, regardless.
What? Even when I'm not going outside
Yes,
at any
because-
point?
Because the blue light of computers is bad for your skin.
What? Why have I never been told that before?
Right.
I need to go and get. We need to when we're duty free shopping. We need some sunscreen as well. Then I need to maintain my youthful, boyish good looks. Can't risk aging. That'd be an absolute disaster. You're all supposed to agree. Yeah, Kev, that's a good point. You do need to keep your boyish good looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm waiting now.
Yes, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. Boyish good looks. I'm a young rascal. I don't remember how we got onto that. There was probably a
You've
question
been
that was
inside.
asked. Oh yeah, I've barely left through, but I mean, I guess I can talk about the event because it was super duper. It was the first proper esports event Football Manager have tried. There was that one at Insomnia a few years ago that I played in that was a complete disaster, not just because I was knocked out in the first round, but it was just nobody noticed that it was happening, nobody cared. But this one, it was a legitimate FIFA World Cup, but rather than kicking a pig's bladder, everyone was being civilized and sitting at computers and playing Football Manager, the real sport. Nobody cares about football. Football Manager's where it's at. And it was awesome. It was ridiculous. If anyone wants to see some of the pictures or clips from the event, they're all over my Instagram and TikTok. It was like nothing I ever expected Football Manager to be involved in. It was bonkers. The production team regularly work with like Sky Sports, BT Sport, all of them, and they were like, you could work in TV for the next 20 years and never be in a studio this good again. It's ridiculous how fancy the studio is. It was better than the Match of the Day studio, better than the Soccer Saturday studio. It was mad the amount of money FIFA must have thrown at this event. They even had the World Anti-Doping Agency there testing the players to make sure that they weren't doping. And it was mad. We had 3 days of people playing single player Football Manager. So there was 20 competitors from around the world representing their nations. And these were like proper contracts with their FAs. Because England were the hosts, we had 2 managers in it. And they had like proper contracts with the FA. They got to go down to Wembley where they were presented with all their kits and their official Marks and Spencer suits. They got to hang out in the office formerly known as Gareth Southgate's office and have like proper Wembley photo shoots and fancy stuff like that. And all of the different national federations did similar things. We had like opening ceremonies with national anthems and absolute madness like that. We had full on proper professional press conferences, a full production crew. There was a crew of over 100 people there working on keeping this event on the air, live shows throughout the week. Once we got through the 3 days of single player, they did some drafting. We did a knockout tournament. It was mad, absolutely bonkers. I hung out with my new mate John Terry, who probably the most surprising thing of the whole event is I spoke to John Terry for about 20 minutes, and he's actually a thoroughly nice chap. So now I don't know.
Very good.
I don't know what to think, because I went in there with some preconceptions about that man. So either he's an incredibly good actor and can play the part of a good man really, really well, even when there's not a camera pointing at him, or I don't know. I still can't fully process it. I was expecting to not like him. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank introduced himself to me by grabbing my shoulders from behind and basically jumping on me, which was a weird way to meet Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Really? Wow.
That is pretty cool. I'm more impressed by that than John Terry. I just kept quiet through that one, but Jimmy Floyd, that's very cool.
I had lunch with Sam Allardyce.
Did you have a pint
very
of
good.
wine with him?
No, he wasn't drinking. He was eating the same slop we were eating, because we were on slop all week. When you're catering for over 100 people, plenty of slop, flavored coloured meats. So he had some slop with us on the Sunday lunchtime, and it was just absolutely bonkers, absolutely bananas, and Indonesia won, so fingers crossed. There's no official announcements yet, but I'm now hoping that they decide to do next year's event in like Eurovision style, and they're going to fly us off to Indonesia for a week. That'd be fun. I don't know what kind of esports infrastructure there is in Indonesia, but I could probably handle a week in Indonesia. I don't even know where Indonesia is. Asia, maybe? Is that Asia?
Yeah, I think so.
I think.
My world gaming efforts, I'm thinking above Australia.
There you go then. I'll
On the
head
map,
there.
up and left, I think.
But yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it seemed very well received. There was way more views than I think any of us anticipated across social media. FIFA pushed it really hard. Like the head guy of FIFA was tweeting out congratulating the winners and stuff. It's absolutely mad. So hopefully it becomes an annual thing. It was basically a little test event, and it went better than I think anyone could have hoped for. So fingers crossed it becomes an annual thing. Fingers crossed they keep me involved in it, because I quite like getting paid over the summer. Normally making Football Manager videos, I get paid until like April, May time, and then have to live on bread and water until the new game comes out. And considering that's been delayed on the day we're recording this, goodness me, is it good that I managed to get myself a week's work somewhere in the middle of August? Because yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute. That has the potential to be disastrous, delaying the game.
Can I ask the question that everyone's probably asked you already in person? But why isn't Kevy 7 times in the lineup for the England manager spot? What's going on there?
I mean, without being too crass, Sheepdog, they paid me more doing what I did than I would have had in the competition.
No, fair enough. That's a good answer. That's a great answer, in fact.
The only way I was going to earn more by playing in it is if I was 100% confident I'd go in and win the thing, and I wasn't 100% confident I'd win the thing. If I'd have got knocked out on the group stages, I would have been very, very upset, knowing what I'd already been offered because they approached me first about doing the broadcast side. So knowing how much I'd been offered to do the broadcast side, I don't think I would have been very comfortable going in and doing the thing, knowing that I had pressure on me to get really deep in it, or else I'd be sad.
I'm learning tonight. I'm finding it really hard to articulate positive things I'm trying to say about you, but I was about to say you picked the one that plays to your strengths, because obviously when you're playing, you're still presenting and you're being funny and you're doing your bits. So it made sense for you to go and do that, because you know you can deliver 100% on that. Like you say, if you'd have gone and done the game and then the AI in it just knocks you out, you're like, oh man. Whereas, yeah.
Plus, the other thing, of course, it has the potential to be an annual gig this way. Whereas this year, although it was an invitational this year, they're talking about doing like worldwide qualifiers next year, and not just having qualifiers for the individual nations, like qualifying to be England manager. But then once you become England manager, England having to qualify as well to get into the main thing. So, it becomes okay. I could have potentially done it this year, but next year. the chances of repeating it every year, there's so much variance and luck involved. It's that I was comparing at the time to, because lots of people are like, it can't be an esport, there's too much random in it, and it was like, well, it can be, and it's, you'd have to view it in the same way as like the World Series of Poker. You've got people who've won like 10 World Series of Poker bracelets. They're not doing that by luck. They're doing that because they're the best poker players around. But at the start of every World Series of Poker, they're not guaranteed to win. They might get knocked out on the first day of it. But over the course of 30 years, they'll win it lots of times. But there's no guarantee they'll even qualify for regular finals. And it's similar to that with Football Manager. If you do, like we saw with the Streamer Showdown, I think I played in 13 Streamer Showdowns and won 7 of them. Didn't win all 13 though, did I? Because there is that little bit of luck involved. Even though I'm obviously better than everybody else who was in it, there's always that little bit of luck involved. So I only won just over half of the ones I played in.
6 times.
Yeah, but hopefully this way I can be the Gary Neville of Football Manager esports. That's the plan.
Well, from Mark Lawrence.
Just turn up every year. Don't talk to me about that, man. You had to pick the one guy who was a failed posh manager. You could have said anybody else, but the guy who was rubbish when he was posh manager.
He was rubbish when he was a commentator. That's why I went with him. I've been too nice.
So was Lee Dixon, and I wouldn't have been as offended if you'd have said Lee Dixon, even though he's awful.
You could be Mark Lawrence, miserable old Souness.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if we're talking miserable. I wouldn't mind being the Roy Keane.
You
But
kept calling
Roy
yourself.
Keane's
You
like-
kept saying, "Oh yeah, I'm being the Roy Keane of this event." And
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
then I was too good. I thought I was just going to be in there picking on people, but in the end, it turns out I'm an analytical genius. I even got to play with the touchscreen thing at one point, and like put circles around players and have them draw arrows and things.
What circles around the Football Manager player and moving his mouse arm up and down.
No, as in the match engine. Like you'd have the football match
Okay,
on there.
just
and
checking.
Yeah, we did like tactical analysis stuff and everything.
You should have left clicked there. You should have left clicked.
Well, there was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of that as well. That's where I lent my expertise, because half the panel were Football Manager people and half the panel were football people. So we each had our different strengths and weaknesses to throw into the mix. But yeah, it was super duper, absolutely marvelous. I also had fish and chips in the north, which I'd never had before. So that was a new experience. It was all right. I went to the best fish and chip shop in Liverpool. I forget what it was called. We should have gone there when we did the best thing from Liverpool. We didn't, because we had scouse instead, and no one I was with wanted to try scouse, even though I was like, but it was quite nice. People just wanted fish and chips instead.
Yeah, but you took an American, didn't you, Kevin?
We did take an American, yes.
Who didn't
An
understand
actual
it.
bona fide American who'd never had fish and chips before. And she was very confused by the whole affair, especially when we started. We were going to get mushy peas, curry sauce, and gravy, because you got to try all three, obviously.
Yeah.
And there was some strange faces being fooled. And then we made her have a pint of Guinness afterwards. So I don't think she's coming back to the UK ever.
And the nuggets, Kevin.
Oh yeah, Americans, 2 different Americans, flabbergasted by McDonald's chicken nuggets here, biting into him, going, "What's that?" "That's chicken." 3 of us yelling in unison. "That is chicken. That's actual chicken you've got in there." Apparently, they're just mush in America. It's just like chicken paste. Chicken.
Yeah.
That's
grim.
Whereas here,
Wow.
obviously, they're actual chicken breast chunks, and it's quite nice. But they bit into it. It's like, oh, it's firm. It's hard. What's that? Why has it got texture? That's not what a nugget's supposed to be. Absolutely hideous. I'm never having a nugget in America now.
I feel like that
utterly
explains
hideous.
a bit of why they say they don't. People are like, you have to put loads of flavor and seasoning on stuff, and there are people arguing that no, if you have a proper chicken, it tastes like chicken, and that's quite nice. And yeah, like you should put flavoring on it, but it's also nice sometimes to have it plain. And now that makes sense if they're just eating that sloppy goo and going, yeah, got to put a bit of salt on this goo.
Yuck.
Mm.
But yeah, all of that then leads, all that positivity about Football Manager and the Football Manager World Cup event leads into today at the time of recording. So we're recording on Wednesday. And earlier on today, we got another announcement for Football Manager, and it was the announcement that FM25 has been delayed, which is very stressful, because it now means it's coming out at the end of November rather than the start of November, which means I miss out on a month with ad rates being at their highest on YouTube. I usually get the perfect storm where ad rates are high at the same time as the new game is out. So I do like a 2 million view month when I get paid well for it. And now they've ruined everything. So me and Anna are going to be on bread and water for the next year while we try and recover from the financial ruin that Football Manager are thrusting our way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been delayed. They also announced that they're removing weight from the game. So you'll no longer be able to see the weight of players. Because of lady females and their weight fluctuations. And basically there's been I spent the afternoon arguing with meatheads on Twitter, because so many people are now, it's an excuse to get their normal hatred of women out. And the general gist was, they said, because women's weights fluctuate, you can't really just put a weight in there and leave it as that weight. So we looked into coding that in, and then realised, what's the point? The weight's fairly meaningless anyway. Let's just take that attribute out, because it doesn't do anything. And so the internet has interpreted that as Football Manager gone woke, and has I've had some fun arguing with some meatheads. And then the other headline is they're removing international football as well, because that won't be ready. So there's like 5 or 6 features now that are being removed from the game, and it's being delayed. We still don't have a trailer. We still haven't seen any gameplay, and we still don't actually have a firm release date. Even in the announcement today, they said, hopefully this is the last announcement before we announce the release date. But the word hopefully was in there. So there's even the possibility that they use these extra 2 weeks they've now bought themselves, because they effectively said they were going to announce the release date and put pre-orders up this week. And now they're saying, yeah, we're not doing that until the end of September now. And the release date's moving as well. So we could potentially get towards the end of September and then be like, yeah, it's still not going to be done. It'll be out
And
after
they're
Christmas.
taking things out as well. Wow.
Yeah. It was giving me flashbacks to Championship Manager 4, which was about 20 years ago. And that was when I think that was when they introduced the 2D match engine, and they had so much problems with it that it ended up not being released until April. And even then it was a broken, buggy mess. It didn't even work properly when it came out in April. And of course, this year is the year that they're converting to an entirely new engine. It's all being done on Unity. So they're having to recode the entire game, new match engine, new user interface. An even bigger change than they had when they added the 2D match engine to Championship Manager 4. And every announcement we've had so far, bearing in mind there have only been 2, so take it with a pinch of salt. And in fact, that's not even fair, because there has been the announcement of women's football, the announcement they've got the Premier League license, and there has been some positive stuff. But the main announcements have been, we're removing fantasy draft, we're removing versus mode, we're removing player shouts, we're removing international football, we're removing the weight attribute. And yeah, it's looking like we're getting a very, very scaled down version of the game that has effectively spent the last 20 years or so iterating on itself, because since that version that had the 2D match engine in, even the current 3D match engine is just basically bolted on top of the 2D one. It's why the players move so weird, because they're basically 3D animations bolted on top of the little 2D discs that were in there previously. It's not doing any of the calculations of the animations in 3D. That's why sometimes it looks weird. That's why sometimes offsides aren't represented properly, because in the 2D engine it would be offside, but in the 3D one it doesn't process through as that, but it's the 2D one that counts. So we've basically been having 20 years worth of annual updates on this version that was massively delayed 20 years ago, and now they're throwing it all out, basically just keeping the database, which they're having to expand because they're adding in the women's football, so having to add in loads of new stuff to the database and rebuild the entire game from the ground up in a new engine that they've never coded in before. And woohoo! I mean, I'm not worried. You're worried.
I have a question. Question.
Go for it, Pabby.
Well, comment and a question. So this is akin to, do you remember like when at the start of a new generation and they have like a FIFA game on it and it's not quite on par with the new stuff, because it's all new engine, it's all new stuff, and they par it all back a bit, and then the year after, so FM26 should be the all singing, all dancing version, you'd think.
Yeah, the comparison I made in my video that I made earlier today was look at the Civilization game cycle, where once you get Civilization will come out and it'll be fairly bare bones. The launch title of a new like numbered version of Civilization won't be anywhere near the number of features as the final DLC version of the previous one.
Yes,
you won't have as many civs. A lot of the features and mechanics will be removed, but it'll be a new game. It will look different. It'll operate differently. There'll be slightly different mechanics within it, but a lot of the features will be removed. And then each year they'll do a paid for DLC where you often add some of the old stuff back in again. Like you might add religions in, you might add different civs in, and then, so by the time you get 3 or 4 years down the line, you've then got like the fully featured version of the new game ready for them to wipe the slate clean again and come back with the next numbered version. And nobody really argues about it with Civ, because it's the way Civ has always done things, and it's the way Football Manager used to do things, or Championship Manager, because you'd have Championship Manager 2, and then in between you'd have the annual updates. So we only ever got as far as Championship Manager 4 under Sports Interactive, even though they were under that name for like 10, 12 years. But they'd release a numbered update every 3 or 4 years and annual updates in between. And the numbered one would be the big rebuild. But ever since they've been Football Manager, it's always just been Football Manager and then the year of release. And even when they've thrown significant things in, like I think it was maybe 10 or 12 years ago now, maybe even a little bit longer at this point, they added the 3D match engine, but that wasn't like a new numbered version. It was just that year's dated version of the game. So they've got to try and fix people's mindset of, yeah, this is not going to have anywhere near as many features as FM24, because FM24 was basically at best Football Manager 2 version 10 or something like, you know, they've been bloating it up for years, and a lot of the features that are being removed are rubbish and don't really work anyway. Like the touchline shouts have never worked, so who cares that they've been removed? Lots of people care that they've been removed, but they've never really worked. I always compare it to like the closed door button in an elevator that's just there to calm people down when they want the door to close, but it's not actually connected to anything. And that's very much how the touchline shouts always worked in Football Manager. They just don't really do anything. But yeah, they've got a job on their hands so close to release, trying to get that messaging across, and they're not doing a very good job of getting that messaging across. People are expecting a better version of Football Manager than the one they got last year, and no one is shouting at them and telling them that's not going to happen. It's going to be a different version with less stuff in it, and they just need to listen and expect that, or else there's going to be so many people very angry and disappointed when it does drop.
So, like, do you think in worst case scenario, if they do push it into next year, do they roll a roster update for 24? The problem with that is because of the licensing, they're not allowed to leave previous versions on sale beyond certain dates. They can't even really. So
the FM, that's why if you go on Steam, you can't go and buy FM23 on Steam because the licenses were only. That's why on Game Pass, as soon as 24 dropped, 23 came off. They only have the license for the year. So once they get past that year, they can't support FM24 anymore because they no longer have the license for FM24. Obviously, they can't delete it off of people's computers, but they can't distribute it anymore, and they can't distribute updates for it anymore. So because of the licensing, they've kind of got their hands tied. They can't do an update for FM24 unless they rush it out now. But if they do that, who's doing that? They've got to take people off the FM25 team to do that.
Yeah.
So that then put a lot of people off 25, wouldn't it? Like if half the people were like, well, I only wanted a database update, they're going to lose a bit of. And then that
delays 25 even further. It's an update they're not going to make any money on. I mean,
no,
because they can't sell it. And again, because of the licensing, they've already announced that for this football season, they've got the Premier League license. Well, do they put the Premier League license in the update? Probably not, because there's so many legal complications around doing something like that. So they're kind of in a situation where they can't do that, but they also don't want to release a version of the game that's not finished. But they also, I mean, them as much as us as content creators really need this game to come out before Christmas. If they're not releasing this until after Christmas, they lose the Christmas rush. But they also, the further they get into the season, the less likely people are to buy it anyway, because who wants to buy a game where the start date is July 2024 when it's February 2025? You're certainly not paying full price for it when you're more than halfway through the season. So
yeah, it's a shame they haven't had like a backup plan of, like, I know you were saying who would maintain it on the other end, kind of like what Pab said, but just kind of being able to release a FM25 on the old engine that is a new game that hasn't got much changed. But do you know what I mean?
The problem with doing that is that's basically what FM24 was. They've been developing 25 for 2 years. So FM24 was just a shinied up version of 23 with new database. There wasn't really much in the way of new features in 24. So their marketing strategy for that was calling it the most complete version of Football Manager they've ever made. So if they then do 25 on the same engine with updated database, firstly, it means the previous year's marketing was all lies, because there's now an even more complete version theoretically. But also it's just,
it undermines their everything they've done so far, but it's probably better than putting it back to February or whatever, and not having a game out in time. If they could say, right, look, we've had a bit of a balls up here, so here's what we can put out now, go get it, and then we'll give you the new one in September.
I mean, the main messaging for everybody listening should be go and subscribe to mine and Anna's Lego channel, Block Party, because we need the money. If we've not got a new Football Manager game coming out until after Christmas, we really need you to watch our Lego videos. Thanks, because we need some content to be viewed from somewhere.
I think this is the year that the four of us get together and try and write a Christmas #1. I mean, now's the time to be doing it.
They tend to want you to give at least some of the money to charity when you do that. You at least have to tell everybody you're giving all the money to charity when you do that.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe if you're the front man of it and I just take some of the cash, I don't really want
you can be
the
a charity.
Oh, now that is a good point. What could I be a charity about? I could be doing research about makeup for boys.
Yeah, it works. I mean, I could be trying to find a cure for baldness.
I mean, we found the cure for baldness earlier. We were looking on the MCM guest page, and there was a man who looked identical to you, except he'd written the word hair on his head. And to me, that is the perfect cure for baldness. Just write hair on your forehead. 5 head, sorry.
You're so
beautiful.
5 head, how dare you?
I mean, your forehead goes all the way around to your shoulders.
Yeah, okay. I thought 5 head was just if it was particularly, if you could basically stream a cinema like projector onto someone's head, but it wouldn't work on mine.
I mean, you could paint an excellent globe on there, though.
Yeah, you probably could. That'd be a good Halloween costume. Might have to get on that for Halloween.
But yeah, bottom line, boys and girls, when my pre-order link for FM25 does become available, because that's the other thing, pre-orders were supposed to be starting this week, so I could start getting some pre-orders done. That's now not going to be until the end of the month. So I'm going to ask you now, and I'm going to ask you earlier, I'm going to ask you often, when the pre-orders do come, make sure you use my link, because, I'm your old pal Kev. You don't want me to starve, do you? That'd be horrific. Imagine me starving. It'd be horrible. I love eating. End of story.
Yes, that wasn't meant to be a 30. Oh, it might have been for you. I didn't know we were doing a 30-minute ramble just to get to the don't make old Kev starve.
Yeah, that was the general gist of it. That was 30 minutes of me saying I might be starting a Lego Channel Kickstarter in the near future. Can we have £30,000 to buy more Lego, please?
Sounds fair.
It's not about food at all. We just want to be able to keep buying Lego. There's an X Mansion coming out at the end of the year. I want to be able to buy it. And if we're not making any money, I'm not going to be able to. So, yes, it's not about food. It is about me being able to have somewhere for my X-Men minifigs to live. And let's face it, which one of those is really more important?
Yeah, you've got enough in the bank that you don't like. I mean, the bank of your stomach to not have to eat for a little while you do Lego.
Exactly. I mean, you can eat Lego. Probably.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, probably not.
It might be delicious.
The rounded bits will be fine. Don't eat the cube ones.
Oh, everybody, my thing has stopped.
You all right?
Yeah, we've got Craig. Don't worry.
Craig's here. We're okay.
So do I just keep going?
Just keep going. Yeah,
we're good.
It's stopped at 29 minutes. So
that's fine.
Good old Craig.
Sheepdog's going to tell us about video games now. Anyway, I think he's played 8 games this week. He said
8. I mean, I've played like 20 hours more of old Baldur's Gate. I said to Pab last week I wasn't sure whether I had gone from Act 1 to Act 2. I think I'm still on Act 1, and I've done basically over 40 hours of just running around Act 1. Have you left
the first area yet?
No, that's how I think I know I'm on Act 1.
Yeah,
because what confused? I mean, you'll be able to answer this for me actually. So basically, I thought I was told you got 2 choices. You can either go through the mountains or you can go through the underpass thing where all the monsters are. So I thought the underground one sounded harder and more fun, so I did that. What I ended up doing was jumping out of a window, sliding down, and there was this thing that was petrifying everything. I tried to kill that a few times, failed. Then accidentally snuck past it. I don't even know how I did it. I kind of just walked away from it without it triggering. And I was like, cool.
Oh, that thing was annoying.
So I ended up fighting my way through, finding like a fairy circle, going through the fairy circle, coming next to a house where old Ethel was, did that whole story, and then I went to go back into my little mushroom circle, thinking, right, cool, off we go. And the mushroom circle now just goes back to Ethel, her underground room, constantly. So I was like, right, that's annoying. How do I get back to where I need to go? So I went to the mountain pass bit, and it was saying, "Oh, if you leave here, you end the act." So I was like, "Okay." It doesn't say that; it just says like, "Make sure you do everything before you leave." And then I was looking at what black patches I had on the map. Still, I found a dog in the forest who said he'd meet me at my base, maybe if I if his master doesn't wake up, his master's like laying in a pool of blood dead on the floor. So I'm like, okay, I'll see you later. Got a little owl bear that's coming to my base as well. But I think there's some little bits, there's some black marks on there where I don't know whether they're just because it's water and I can't see it or what. But I'm feeling like before I leave, I should probably have seen all of them. But what I did last night was I returned to the underground. What's it called? Saluda? I can't read properly. Basically, if you open a gate down there, you start getting shot by lasers. And I don't want to remove the protection because I'm kind of thinking if I remove that and then stuff starts attacking, this is basically the entrance from the underworld to the upper world. And this laser seems to be the only thing protecting everyone here. So I jumped off the wall instead and everyone took like full damage, but I left it active and off I went. And I found a sword in a stone, which I pulled out. There was mushrooms that were making everyone hallucinate, and I saved it there and thought, right, I'll come back to this later. But I'm expecting to wander in that direction, and I'm assuming that direction will be where the act ends. Or I've gone on a wild goose chase here, and I don't know what's going on. But it's a lot deadlier down there, a lot harder. But oh yeah, it's just so good. Like there's lots of bits. Like I got a book and a stone and put it in and gave it to the elf fella, and that all kicked off a bit of a story there. And I think I mentioned before we thought it was the we thought it was like the magic guy that I'd lost, but he's standing in my base. He's not a member of the team. It's a guy called Gray or
Gale.
Yeah.
Gale.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was the one who I tried to grab his arm and pull him out of a hole, and it just swallowed him. And I googled the other day whether I found that you could get other characters if you missed them at one point or another. And I got a character the other day that I'd just not bumped into them at other places where I could have done, and this was the last chance to get them, and I got them. But Gale, you just can't get if you don't pull him out of that hole. That's it. Gale's not in the story at all. So I will probably complete the game and then go back and see what Gale's story would have been like.
That other game all over again that I can't remember the name of.
Yeah, Detroit. But yeah,
where you only played a third of the game. You're just killing everyone.
Is Gale like that major in this then?
He can be. I mean, that's the great thing about it. It's so branching that he can be, or you can just completely ignore him. So playing without him is a completely legitimate way to play it. It's story based. Do what you want.
Because I did vaguely read that part of his story is he wants to consume everything and he's growing into some enormous thing. And someone asked, they were like, if you don't meet him, does he just keep going in the background and try and destroy the world? And I was like, oh, God. But I don't know how spoilery that is. I realised after the fact I said it. But anyway, so yeah, it is amazing. It is incredible. It has been the main focus of all my time. The only other things I've really been doing gaming wise, helping the kids with their bits. I had a really frustrating thing where my 3DS kept just turning off randomly whenever
you just
it
smack
was jolted.
it.
Sorry?
That you just smack it like you used to do with ours.
So I tried that, didn't work. It continued to turn it off. But somehow, being an idiot, I let this problem go for like 2 weeks where basically Ollie was playing Pokemon Crystal and it'd be, I don't know, an hour in and suddenly it would go off and he hadn't saved it, and he kept having these mini little upset moments. And I kept saying, well, you just need to learn to save it every 10 minutes or every time you do something worth saving. And then last night, day before yesterday, he had a proper, he was so upset that he'd lost. I think he'd only lost like 10 minutes, but he was just so sick of it happening that I Googled, why does this keep happening? And someone was just like, replace the battery. So I replaced the battery, and it's been good. I mean, I put it in, put it all back together, and then just stood there dropping it on my desk over and over again. And when I told him this, he was like, you realize you could have broke the screen? I'm like, oh yeah, good point. I was just dropping it on the table. But he's been playing and it hasn't stopped so far. So I fixed that problem. Trying to think what else. There was something else I'd done that was related to a massive faff with PlayStation. I know I'd put a tweet out about the speeds on my PlayStation when I tried to wire it up to my fast broadband. I'm very disappointed. I built a whole home plug network thing from my router to my PlayStation, Xbox, and TV. And on Wi-Fi, I was getting over 400 meg, and through the home plugs, I was getting 25. And I just sent them all back. They were supposed to be like 1 gig. Everything was supposed to be like 1 gig plus. But I just sent them all back. And that was like 3 of my birthday presents that I just basically returned and was like, I've got to try and figure that out now, what to get instead. But yeah, I learned as well that PlayStations just don't really play well on being wired. I think we might have had that chat a long time ago on the podcast, but apparently,
I've always found the opposite to be true. They're rubbish wireless. They're all ours are wired, and they're really good.
Interesting. Okay, I had it in my head. I remembered Anna talking
No,
about.
that was the
maybe it the other way around.
Xbox. The Xbox
okay.
was atrocious. Yeah, that's awful.
But yeah, when I do a speed check on the PlayStation, it's just like, yeah, we're getting nearly 500 meg through like a couple of walls because I'm in the router's in the garage, so it's going through an outside wall into the house kind of thing, like a thicker wall. Part of me's thinking I might just, I don't know, drill a hole in both the walls and run a wire through. Who's going to stop me, eh? But other than that, the only other thing, and as I'm saying this, I'm bearing in mind that someone was like they'd rather not. They prefer talking about other things to this. But I don't know if you saw that they brought out an update, the new Gen 8 Sword and Shield is in Pokemon Go now, and they've added in a whole new type of like stop. Which is like what's it called? A max den or something like that. A max portal.
Is that what that is? I didn't have
like,
we asked me about that the other day. And I don't know what you're talking about.
They're called power spots, and essentially you can go there at the moment and like give them a tap, and it will let you pick up max power or power, whatever it's called. I don't know. It's leading to the whole Dynamax thing from Gen 8, but also every 2K you walk, it will give you Dynamax power. And it's early days yet, so like I've only got 540 out of 1,000, and I don't know what happens when you get to 1,000, whether you could use that to Dynamax something or what. But the idea is that eventually, when you go to these things, there'll be a Pokemon there that is Gigantamax or Dynamax. You can fight it. You can leave Pokemon there to help other people fight them, so you're not relying on. Like, it's a bit annoying when you go to do a raid and you can't get other people to join you. The idea is that I could leave a Pokemon there and then somebody else can come along to fight it, and my Pokemon will fight with them. And I think that's a great little feature to add in. I'm hoping it plays out like that, because that's what it says on the thing. You leave a Pokemon here and it will help people. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. I don't want it to like die immediately and come back and it's like, oh, I helped one person for half a fight. I also don't want the mean locals here to be putting in really like weak Pokemon, and then they just, you can't do anything because someone's left you 6 Rattatas to fight with. But yeah, no, new gen is always exciting. It always comes out around this time of year. The new features are all going in. You'll get like Gigantamax Pokemon coming out and all that sort of stuff. The Halloween update stuff will be dropping in a few weeks. The little pictures already gone out with ghosts and that on it, which is always cool. And yeah, so that's been exciting. And that is my lot.
Splendid. What if the rest of you should talk about games then?
I have nothing to add this week.
You've not played anything at all?
I've not played nothing at all. After last week's recording, I obviously went to bed because I was tired, and 7 days I have not felt well. I've had a
because you were missing me.
It wasn't because I was missing you.
You were allergic to being without me.
No, because that day I'd been out with Andy all day. So I'd been around a bunch of kids. I'd been in 4 different taxis. So I'd mingled with a lot of people, and obviously I had picked up something from somewhere because
this withdrawal from the stuff is slipping into your breakfast cereal every morning, isn't it?
And then on the Thursday, I could not stay awake. I could not stand up. I could not eat. So I've been living off toast once a day for about 5 days until Kevin come home and goes, "You gotta eat." Well, so he's made me eat, but
yeah. What a maniac I am.
I'm still not feeling great, so I've not turned on my PlayStation since last Wednesday morning because I've just felt ill. So I have played nothing. I have been sleeping a lot, and yeah, so I have nothing to add this week. I did build my CP3PO.
That's exactly what he's called as well.
I think that's his name.
Yeah, get another P in there.
Yep, CP3P. What is his name?
C3P3PO, I think.
C3PO. So I did make him, but his hips didn't want to work, so I had to take his hips out. So
he needed a replacement already. Wow. I mean, he is old. He's getting on a bit.
I don't know what they had these 2 gold bits that needed to go inside him. Would they go in? No. So I've took his hips out so he doesn't bend. So he is very up straight. But I did make that, and then I did make hold on, Synanthemum, a chrysanthemum. Anyway,
What's one of them?
Chrysanthemum,
yep.
A plant?
flower.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was another Star Wars character. I was going, I don't know that one.
No, I made a flower. Just because in the evening I was feeling a little better. But yeah, gaming wise, I've played nothing. But Astrobot comes out.
Astrobot is out this
Friday?
week, and we'll have coverage.
No,
I'm sure Sheepdog will mention that we've been playing it on it next week's show.
On his solo show, yeah.
Yeah.
because we won't be here. But yeah, that comes out this week. So I've not played Star Wars at all. So I'm glad I got it early. But I just haven't touched anything because I've just felt very, very ill. So Kevin's not allowed to leave me again for a week.
Because of your allergy to being without me.
In 12 years, he's never left me more than 3 days, and this time he left me for a week by myself in a new house, sick, with a monster of a spider in the bathroom. So
yeah, she sent me a text on Saturday, maybe, saying that I can't. I've got to sleep downstairs. There's a monster in the bathroom, and it took like 5 text messages to work out she meant a spider. She was hysterical.
it was awful. I was just like, because I was in bed, because I went to bed early, and then I was like, I got up because I needed the loo, and I had like one of the lights was on dim, because obviously I can't not see to go to the toilet, and I got up and I just saw this mass going across the bedroom into the toilet. And I was like, that's it, no, I'm out. So I came downstairs, told Kevin, and Kevin was still awake because Kevin had been out partying.
Absolutely, I'm a wild party animal now.
But that was dreadful. Oh, it was a massive, just this big mass just walking across the room. And then when Kevin came back, we had a massive hornet in there as well. So yeah, it
that was like the size of a pigeon. That was ridiculous.
we moved the I don't know, the desert or something, because there's just wildlife around it. And then yesterday when we were going to the shop, we found a cat, didn't we, Kevin? What was the cat doing, Kevin?
Oh yeah, I had to have a word with a cat. There was a cat doing a poo in our front garden.
We have that happening in ours. The solution.
I yelled out of my window, and he just stopped and looked at me.
He'll be back.
He knew I'd caught him.
Mrs. Sheepdog had been buying peppers or chilies, sorry, to like. She cuts them up, puts them in water, leaves them in the water for a bit, like a couple of days. The water goes a pinky colour, and then she sprays the garden. She asked me to go and get some peppers, and I saw that chilies, sorry, and the chilies were the same price as Scotch bonnets. So I brought Scotch bonnets, and that cat has not come back and pooed on that garden since, because it is obviously much more fiery out there. And she was so delighted with it.
I don't really want to sting a cat's anus.
Well, I've heard her tell people several times that she was doing her chili spray, and then like I went and bought these Scotch, and it solved the problem. And she's just like, it was so good. She's very happy. I've noticed that there's another bit of grass between our house and the next door neighbour's house that has now just got little cat turds on it that someone needs to pick up, but she doesn't care about that one, I'm guessing. But the bit that she's been spraying, yeah, it's the answer. That'll do it.
Yeah, they're not good for babies, are they, to be around?
We don't have any babies.
No, but I don't want it doing
babies.
I don't want it doing outside our windows. I can't have the window open then. Oh God, imagine if it jumped in. Dave would go hysterical. Oh, no, thank you. But yeah, I've not played anything. I just haven't been very well. So, yeah, nothing for me.
Important question. Has the shelfman been?
Yes.
Yes,
the shelfman has been.
Okay, so you didn't have to glue them with yourself. Good.
No.
Good.
No.
Don't get me. He was so bear in mind, it was the IKEA shelfman, the guy IKEA provide. Not a fan of IKEA's floating shelves. Oh, he would not stop going on about how awful they are.
Oh, great advertisement.
Yeah, they've held up most of Anna's stuff so far.
Because they're not filled yet, that's why.
Yeah.
Because obviously it wasn't very
I had these same shelves on the wall in my Lego room in the old house. And
for like a month.
No, for like 6 months. And they were rammed with Lego and they were absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So I think that guy probably just owns his own shelf business and is trying to take on IKEA.
Maybe. Well, It's a good job I've played some games then, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, Pappy. Goodness
I
me.
have. I know, you've
I've
all been
saved
busy.
the day.
You've all been busy. That's
And sick.
fine. That's
Yes.
fine. And sick,
Good,
yes.
good job
exactly.
I'm here. All right.
I finally played Star Wars Outlaws.
Mhm.
I've not played tons, I'm not going to lie. I've not played tons of it.
Mm.
I'd like to have played more, but for reasons we'll get to in a bit. I quite like it so far. I've only
Mm.
played about 2 hours. I like
Mm.
the character. I like Nick's a little pet axolotl fella.
Yes. Yeah.
I like the world. I like the NPC stuff, the dialogue, everything about it just is very Star Warsy. I've enjoyed what I've played. The missions, I've only really played one major mission where I had to sneak into a base and steal something.
Yeah.
So in the game you have 3 syndicates, and based on you start off with no rep for any of these syndicates, and you don't have any. You do jobs for them, and then that's how you improve your rep, and then you backstab them or you go against the syndicates, and your rep goes down.
Yes.
I did a mission where I had to steal from a syndicate,
Mm-hmm.
and then came out with information which would increase my reputation with a syndicate, which made no sense really.
Yeah.
I steal from this syndicate. I literally go into the head guy's apartment, basically, steal something from him, find out some intriguing information, and my reputation is the same because then I was given the opportunity at that point. Somebody at a rival syndicate said, give me the information instead. So I gave them the information instead. So now I'm in good with them, and I'm poor with the pikes, I think it is.
Yeah. Same.
So I've enjoyed doing that. I like how you gain. Well, I've only done it a few times now, where you gain abilities or attributes, sort of thing, where you you open the abilities page and you have a range of characters that you can pick from, who you've met. So I only have one at the minute, but I've seen video of it before, where my starting what is he? Is he like a father figure, the guy at the start of the bar, or is he like a he's kind of like a father figure to you, based on flashbacks in the story, sort of thing. He's kind of like a father figure to you, and he has a series of skills, sort of thing, and you can do things to learn them, to learn these skills. So I get to do something I got some sort of better armor or something like that through acquiring certain materials, and then I had to do one where I had to speak to certain vendors and spend a certain amount of money, and then I unlocked a different ability from doing that, which I quite like. I quite like that. It's a different way of doing doing a skill tree.
I didn't know that for the longest time.
Yeah,
I was going through it and I was like, what is this? And it's going on. I was like, oh, unlock. And I was like, didn't know this was a thing. Didn't explain it anywhere, I don't think. But
I came across it, and then I like the fact that you can track them as well. So you can okay, I tracked I need to speak to this many more vendors, and then that will unlock, and then I get a different thing to do. I like the world so far. I've spent most of it in this little town. You start off on Canto Bight, which is a town from The Last Jedi, I think, one of the films. It's in one of them. But anyway, you end up leaving there on a spaceship, and then you end up on another planet, and then that's where I've been pretty much. I've just been wandering around there. It's very very well detailed, very packed. There's a mass. It's huge as well. I'm in this little town, Anna, where you do that first main mission, and I was like, there's a lot going on in here.
There is.
and then you come out the map, and it's just huge. I was like, oh yeah, of course. I've travelled all the way across this planet on my speeder initially. And I was like, I forgot all about that. Because there was like a mission. There's like an objective. I have to go and get something out in the dunes somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh yeah, of course. There's actually more to this than me just. I was equating it to something like, what's it called now? The one that came out last year.
Yep. Survivor?
No, the Fallout one. That's not Fallout.
Fallout?
The Bethesda game. Not Outer Worlds. My word. Why am I blanking on it? What is that game called?
The Outer World.
No, not the Outer Worlds. The Bethesda game that came out last year that was all right but not great. Why am I drawing a blank?
You're disgraceful.
It's insane. It's gone. I'm just like drawing a blank now.
Yes, the space one.
Space game that Bethesda made last year.
Starfield.
Starfield, yeah, there you go.
Starfield.
I was thinking Outer Worlds the entire time. Like Starfield is like you have like an area, and then you run around it for a bit, and then you get off and go, and you click on the planet you actually want to go to, and you just take off in your ship. And I got into my head that I was doing that for a bit, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, just get on my speeder, and I just drive away.
Yes.
And then I just wander off somewhere else. I don't know how much detail there is in this world of like what else I'm doing. There probably is just to know a few hubs realistically, but I don't know yet.
Well, I was playing it last week, and I had been to, obviously you start in the first world, I've been to the second world, and then I have left that world, but only to go into space and then come back to what the world I was on. So I don't know where else it goes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, like, before I was watching it was showing you like the takeoff and the landing, how it was a bit more smoother than Starfield. But yeah, I haven't been to another world. I was just in space collecting something, and then went back to this world. There's a lot, like you said, there's a lot going on in these worlds. Like Starfield would have need something you can ride on, because there is in like. So going to Starfield, there is so much to do on the planets, but some of them are just so far away that I can't be bothered to walk that. Whereas on this, I'm like, oh, there's something over there. I'll just get on my speeder and I'm there within like a minute. And yes, Bethesda like the experience and everything, but sometimes there is nothing going on. There is literally, you are just walking in a straight line. Whereas this is, you can be on your speeder, you can go past a group of, I don't know, troopers, and they can start shooting you. You can get into a fight with them, and then you can get some like loot. Whereas in Starfield, there is nothing like that. So yeah, I do like this more, as you are in space. You do have a lot to explore, and now you have a way to explore it. But yeah, there's a lot to do.
What, based on what you've played, Anna, I'm just surprised myself. How long do you think this game takes to finish?
20 30 hours maybe. I don't know.
Main story, if you just mainlined it, 16 hours.
Okay.
Completionist, 36 hours. I'm like, huh?
I'm not surprised.
This game doesn't strike me as a game that, I feel like it's a game that you could spend 80 hours in it at the minute, like based on the things that you're going to get, but maybe not. So
they're like, because like where I had ended last week is like, yes, I had been doing things for the Syndicate after I'd been into space and come back. Then there was this, I think her name was Dana or something, and she, if you go to her, she will just give you jobs that are dotted around the world, and they are for the other syndicates, but you can do them whether you want to or not. You don't have to, but you're just going into bases and doing whatever. So there is a completionist thing of doing things, because there's these optional things that you don't have to do. Like you can just mainline it, but obviously we like to explore, and yeah, I've done 2 of them. I've come out with some pretty good loot out of them.
That's good.
It's just you can, like with the attributes, as soon as you've met the person that is associated with them, then you can just go around and open all of their attributes or skill up or whatever you want to call them as soon as you want to, as long as they're on your on your map, so you don't. I didn't know this until like 6 hours in. I was like, oh no, that's what I have to. I see. So yeah, I've got like extra body armor. My speeder can now jump over rocks because the amount of times I have bounced into rocks because I just didn't see them, because that thing is a bit nippy. It goes quite fast, and my reactions.
Have you seen the? I've not tried this. I've not tried this, Anna. I might be wrong. This could have been something that's maybe even been patched out at this point. But you know, like when you're just riding around in the open world and just have a load of people turn up from some syndicates, turn up and try and get you. If you just get off the apparently, I don't know if this is a bug or something. Apparently, the people at the syndicates that come for you on the speeders don't have like an animation to get off the bikes. So if you just get off the bike, they all just drive off.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
apparently. I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna. If it gets particularly stressful and I can't deal with them, I'm just gonna get off and just watch them all just ride off into the distance, like as if they've lost me.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, I've not come across that. But
I've not tried it, but I meant to try it and I forgot.
And I have heard that you should turn off film grain.
I've turned off film grain today. Also, did you notice it is? Did you turn off 21:9?
Yes.
Okay.
As I'd like, what is happening here? Like,
it's letterboxed all. It starts off it's default letterbox, so you just like you're watching a film. I get it. It's very cinematic. It wants you to be feeling like it's a Star Wars film.
Yeah, but I couldn't see her when she was crouching.
No.
I was like, what is happening?
She's gone off the screen.
Yeah, I turned that off instantly.
Mine defaults to 21:9, but because I have an ultra wide monitor, it doesn't do it. It's just the full screen because it is a 21:9 ratio anyway. So I was like, oh, I thought I went to do it this evening. I was like, okay, I'll turn it off, and I was like, oh, never mind. It's just 21:9. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this game, it is. I've enjoyed just playing the missions that I've played a lot, mainly because they are stealth missions. They feel very much like it's kind of like a lot of like the stealthy bits of Assassin's Creed bits for me, where it's just like you are just creeping around and picking enemies off and distracting enemies, and
I said that last week.
Things
it was
and
very
stuff.
much.
I really like that. I've enjoyed that. I spent like 20 minutes just in like one room, just figuring out how I go around and not be seen by things. And I do that in Assassin's Creed when I do like a base, and I see a base and I'm like, okay, I need to figure out how many guards there are and how I go about. I just sit in bushes, just watching patrols, just waiting for him. And I was like, okay, I need to wait for him to go that way, and I'm going to go around the back of this guy and get this fella. And I know there are missions in. I've not got to missions yet where you fail the mission if you get caught. I know that's in there, but I haven't got to that yet. But then again, I don't plan on getting caught. So
all they do is chuck you out. They
just chuck you out and start you again. But it's not like a finger. Some missions do say, "Oh, you're getting into a firefight and you get caught and it's you go in loud," sort of thing. But I feel like the game desperately wants you to play this like a heist, like your Ocean's 11 a little bit. You want to be quiet and silent without anyone noticing you going in.
The only thing that's caught me out is cameras, because I don't see the thing on the floor. But apart
I wonder if there's like a some sort of like accessibility thing to make them more visible. Because sometimes, like you're right, I wandered through some bushes and I was like, oh, what's this light on it? I was like, I realized, it's a camera. But the camera doesn't actually see you in the bushes.
No,
I did panic. I panicked and kind of scrambled out dead quick. And I was like, oh yeah, it's all right. We're okay. So I'll play some more of that, and we'll continue to play more of that at some point, and we'll get back to it after our week away. The other thing I've played, have you heard of Deadlock? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing not. It's a new Valve game. It's gone into like early testing. It's only recently been it's been heavily embargoed for months. It's only recently been unembargoed, and I'd like to say I've been playing it all this time. I haven't. I've been playing it recently. So I got invited this week. One of my friends had got in and invited me. And what is it? It is a third-person shooter MOBA, basically. It is a MOBA where you have 4 lanes and you have to run the lanes to basically get to the the other team's final like I can't remember what they're called now. They're like basically their base, and you blow up their base and you win.
Fair enough.
I kind of like it, but also kind of see it and go, I don't think this is for me. I kind of like it because it's like a hero shooter in the sense that you have like 20 odd characters, and you pick a character, and then they all have they all have like 4 abilities, including like a basic shooting, and then each time you then have like you can add things at certain points, like you have like 3 slots, like weapon, vitality, and spirit, and you can add to them from getting buying upgrades in the shop, and you accrue money by killing the little grunt characters. I can't remember what they're called. Candlemen, I think, the little candle fellas, and you kill them, and then they give you money. Basically, they're just like the NPC characters that just run in the lanes. And every time you can then go into the shop and then purchase certain things, and you have 4 slots in each one, so weapon, vitality, and spirit. And you basically like there's like stuff for there's like 3 categories in the shop. There's like early game, mid game, and late game, and each like category costs more and more. And then you eventually just fill your slots up, and you go about your business. And then you level up your abilities as well after a certain amount of time as well. But what I didn't like was picking character. Well, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work, but I feel like I need to spend more time experimenting with the characters, and I don't know whether I would, because I just don't know whether the game's for me. But like when you pick a character, you don't go, I'm going to be this character. You have you pick 3 characters, and then you set a preference to which one you would prefer to play. And then you might not get the character you've picked, but you have one of 3 characters that you pick. But if, I think it's 5-on-5 or 6v6. I can't remember now. I think it's but basically only one person from both sides can be a certain character. So if somebody else picks your character as well, there's a chance you aren't getting that character.
So it's like back in like Uncharted Online, where you couldn't have like 3 mates. Because
is that right? I can't remember.
Yeah,
maybe. But you see, but like, because I did the tutorial and stuff with one particular character, I was like, okay, I want to be this character that I know how to play. I know the abilities, but I didn't get that pick. So when I was given a character I hadn't played before, I just picked him because I was like, okay, I remember the Iceman's okay. I think from basically what I've seen in other people playing him, I was like, okay, I'm playing as him, and he was garbage. I mean, it's probably fine, but I'm not playing him well. The game itself, from what I've seen, like you kind of like get auto assigned a lane initially with your teammate, and you kind of stand at the end of a lane, like attacking their guardian sort of thing, and then it becomes a very cagey affair of like who's going to strike. It's very much like a game where you just kind of standing back, just taking pot shots at people, killing the little candleman, and occasionally you manage to get in and take some damage off the guardian, or you kill another like an enemy player. It's very much a MOBA. It's like it's very much like Smite, I suppose, in that aspect. I remember Smite back in the day. And I didn't mind Smite, but again, it was one of them games where I was like, I don't quite know what's going on, and I found myself getting lost regularly in this game. Going, I'm asking my teammates like and Discord going, which lane am I going in? I don't know what color I'm meant to be going to. I don't know where is everybody? And I just found myself just wandering the map at times, just going, I don't know what I'm doing. But then again, I've played like about 2 hours of it again. Which also, that's the other thing, is the games can go on for between 30 and 45 minutes a game.
Jeez.
And I was like, this feels like a lot. This feels like a lot for it. Like Fortnite games are maybe 20 minutes at best. And even then, I do maybe 4 games a night at the most, really, these days. I can't do 45-minute games and then you lose.
Yeah.
Also, that's the thing. I didn't know what was going on the entire time. I was just going down the lanes and just shooting stuff. I was like, are we doing good? Are we doing bad? I don't know. I'm earning money to be able to buy stuff from the shop. Okay. I don't know. I just need. If I was going to play it more, I'd need to learn it, and maybe I would like it. I know it's very well regarded right now, and people do like it. And it is, like I said, the next Valve game that they're coming out. I don't know whether it's going to be when it's going to be coming out. Probably not this year. Probably next year at the earliest.
Well,
But
after
yeah,
the
it's out there.
debacle,
Sorry.
the Concord, they've taken that offline, haven't
Oh,
they? They're giving everyone a refund.
that is a farce in itself, isn't it? As well,
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Just mad.
What's been
Because it
going on with
looked
that?
good. Like, well, not the concept. Like, I wanted to play because it looked like Guardians and had the Guardians kind of aesthetic, but I just don't want to play another Overwatch game. But yeah, to anyone that's playing that, they're taking it offline. They're giving everyone a refund.
Yeah, that is
It's been out
crazy.
like a month.
I know it's been out 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and it's already been taken offline and being refunded. Is that? It's not even that it's a bad game. It's just that nobody bought it, and nobody who did buy it are really playing it.
I think that on day of release there was 660 players, and now there's between 50 and 100 players.
Yeah,
daily,
I mean, I imagine it spiked.
I
did see there's been a spike in it because there's people scrambling to try and get the platinum before it goes offline.
Wow.
So I imagine it will spike a little bit, but not to the extent that they wanted.
No.
Just disappointing for like the people who made it, who spent multiple years making this game, and
I don't remember any fanfare.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It kind of got sent out to die. Very little like advertising about it, but it's just like it's been sent out and given 2 weeks. It's like that is the ultimate. Like, not even giving it like 6 months. Don't give it till Christmas. Just literally. And they've just announced that is it Next Level or something like that? That Amazon animated short series with all the different. Yeah, Concord was one of them.
Was it really?
Concord was one of the things. Yeah, I imagine they probably did it in the sense of because Kratos is in it, so there's a God of War like short in there at some point. So I imagine sort of went, if you want Kratos, you're gonna have to do something with Concord as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with that
realistically,
unless they pull it or they show it anyway, because there's a good chance they might bring this back at some point free to play.
Well, yeah, they said they're taking it offline, giving everyone a refund, and on advice of the feedback, they're going to change.
Yeah, well, that's it. They might bring it back, or they might just cut and run and not do anything with it, and just go move on to your next project. It's a shame, really. Like I say, it's a waste. But there you go. Sony going to be Sony, do what they do.
That is true.
Anyway, other than that is it from me. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now.
Well, in that case, boys and girls, we will wrap things up there. As previously mentioned, next week is going to be a Sheepdog special solo show. He's got a lot of material prepared. Make sure you tune in for that one, while the three of us are off at Disneyland setting a new high score on the Spider-Man ride there, which is the whole purpose of us returning, because Anna was very frustrated that I'm not good enough to play with her when we went last year. So that's why she's bringing Pavi along. So in the meantime, if you want to hassle us on social media, you can do that at Mgukpodcast, or you can follow me at Lelujo.
And you can find me at RB6K.
I miss Lelujo.
And I'm at Pab1986.
And Sheepdog will see you next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks, boys and girls.
Why don't you do an episode from Disney?
We'll be busy. Shut your face.
See you in 2 weeks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for listening, folks. Bye-bye.